come once again to discuss things.
Let's go ahead and kick into gear here. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I am Sid Pardue. Joining me today is Squatch Gang and Milan Jeftik, aka the Russian comic book geek, for another episode of Geeky Gentlemen History Month, the month in which we discuss the contributions that Geeky Gentlemen have made to history, but that have been ignored by a biased educational system. Except that's not all what we do. It's not even like remotely what's been discussed. Though I might end up making that a topic if I could think of like more than 3 guys. So, after that a very, very elaborate introduction, hi, guys, how's it going?
Muy bueno.
I am not high, and I'm upset about that.
And I'm not. I'm actually quite pleased. So anyway, we're here for another episode of History Month, and I kind of pulled this out at the last minute, but it's something, or last week I pulled this out at the last minute, but it's something I've been really itching to discuss for a long time, and I don't know, I think I'm going to be kind of the weird opinion on this, but, so there's this perception I feel that people have that, like, history is the story of progress. Like, the idea that, you know, we start off in caves and we go to space and explore, that'll be the end of history, and, you know, that the caves was the beginning of our history, and yada yada. And I just don't agree with that. And I thought it'd be an interesting thing to discuss. So, Milan, since you had absolutely no idea what the topic would be, and Squatch, since you found out about an hour ago, what are your guys' opinions on this thing that I've spent months upon months thinking about?
Well, the thing about this whole thing is that history is, like, people mistake time for being a linear thing. Time is happening all at once. Like, for example, like, history proves it. There is no real sense of cohesion. Everything is happening all at once. But we just have to have the, we have to have the ability to look backwards to see it all. You know, we can't see all the facts as they're happening around us. So we have to wait for the facts to be absorbed by the time dimension so we can look back at them and observe them, like see what kind of, you know, impacts they had on society and the world and culture at large. Like, for example, imagine what it was like during 9/11. I mean, everyone was freaking out. And now we look back at that and it's like, oh, the government used this whole horrible situation to, you know, do horrible things. And now, on the eve of 2016... only a week or two away, a month away, you know, after we've just gotten over things, at least America has, I don't really give a damn, but, you know, France gets bombed, and, like, just you wait, after a few more, after a week, you know, America will say, you know what, we're gonna go bomb Syria for the French, and I'm like, ugh, can't you guys build a space elevator and start lifting up bits of spaceships into the orbit and start.
Okay. Well, that's not really on the topic, though, Milan.
All right.
That was just a really, really politically slanted rant that's just gonna piss people off and make them turn off the video. So, Squatch, how about something like actually on topic here?
Okay, so I feel that history is as much the story of progression as it is regression. Like, I feel like there's so many points in history where you can point out and say, see, we weren't progressing at all there as a species. And then there's the whole thing of, like, you know, like, it's the story of progression for us, but and only with the context of ourselves. Like, our history isn't relevant to, you know, other planets where, you know, far off somewhere else there could be an entirely other society, and our history isn't relevant to them at the moment. So it only really matters to ourselves. But, you know, like, you have things like the Holocaust, where it's like, I thought we had passed that, you know? Like, when stuff like that happens, like, that's not us progressing, that's us falling back. That's us resorting to primal instinct and fear.
Sure, I get to piss off Milan now. I thought we were past the Holocaust, and then friggin' Serbian genocide happened.
Yeah.
Oh, be quiet, you. Anyway,
Be quiet with your facts.
Anywho, like, the thing is, we're all just a bunch of animals, and I know this sounds like some goofy stoner man logic, and it probably is, but if you look at things, like, we're just a bunch of animals that convinced ourselves that we know a bunch of shit. We just do things and make things and tell each other stories, and over time all this bullshit has accumulated into a civilization. And then, like...
Completely agree.
Exactly. And, like, now it's just like,
I once in a paper for a class defined humanity as a bunch of animals who had delusions of grandeur.
Exactly. I mean, that's the whole point. Once you realize you're nothing but a weird alien creature with a face and arms and legs and an opinion, like, you gotta stop seeing yourself as the meat suit. The meat suit is a lie. Time is a lie. You're just the thing behind your eyes looking out onto the world. Yeah, we do things. We have these violent impulses and we try to rationalize them. For example, like you mentioned, the Holocaust was just some leftover monkey DNA. I mean, Genghis Khan, fucking Attila the Hun, like Alexander the Great, fucking... there was a genocide every 3 minutes back in the old world. There was a slave...
I mean, like, honestly, that is a good point, though, because, you know, we're dealing... I'll actually connect something you were saying earlier. We're dealing with the everything in Syria pretty much traces back to all the, you know, inaction and poor choice of actions that took place in the Iraq War, and that traces back to the Charlie Wilson War, and that traces back to what we were talking about last week.
Exactly, it's all just a bunch of
situations in Iran. Hold on. Let me get to it. And, like, the problem with it is because modern standards of how you declare and act in war are you're only supposed to fight the enemy themselves, and you're supposed to leave the civilians alone. Whereas if you go back to ancient times, no, war was you came into the city, killed all the men, raped all the women, burnt it to the ground. That way, your enemy did not exist anymore. You won. That was what winning a war meant back then. That's why it was so fucked.
Exactly. That's why.
Like, this idea of trying to leave things behind is you create enemies as you go when you do things like that.
Exactly. That's why I you know...
And not that I'm advocating for the old approach. Here's an idea. How about no wars?
But that's the thing. That's the thing. People we just go along and we make things up. We through the lens of history, we do things. We do crazy shit as a species, and then we look back at it and we go. And the next generation looks back at the failures of the previous generation and goes, fucking Jesus, can't we do this better? And they come up with some bullshit, and then over time, that generation becomes the old bastards, and the next generation looks at their bullshit and goes, can't we do it better? And this is not a progression. This is not a things get better over time. It's just how you grow. Like, for example, if you look at modern society in America, at the very least, you look at this thing called suburbia. What is suburbia? The majority of civilization and culture happened in the cities. And, the Midwest was just kind of, America's gut. Right? And then, over time, people kind of, went to war. World War I, World War II, World War II, America was involved. But after World War II, the men came home traumatized after seeing what weaponized warfare looks like, what modern warfare looked like. It's not modern by any stretches of the imagination today. There weren't no giant robots. Hint, hint. But,
what the did you just say hint, hint?
Yes.
About giant robots?
Yes. We're in is real, confirmed.
Exactly. Anyway, but...
I got pictures.
Exactly.
I got a whole movie, actually.
Yeah,
and everything.
Yeah. Anyway.
I do, and...
Anyway. I'm going to lose this point. It's going to fly out of my head.
Go.
But anyway... Once the men came back, they said, you know what, I want this little patch of land for myself, this little bit of sanity to get, to build a life for myself and my children and my girlfriend. And that's where suburbia came from. And
No, not at all. No,
But
suburbia.
let me
suburbia
hold
was a
on.
direct-
I know you can clarify my mistakes as I go along, but it's the larger thing. I'm trying to get a big picture going. But anyway, so suburbia formed, and you have these people who, have a gated off community, and, no black people, so no crime. That's what they thought anyway. And so the black people, they were in the South and in the cities, in the inner cities, and the white folk managed to get themselves some, no crime here, everything is okay, father knows best, and all that shit. And, women were happy because they knew how to cook.
Okay. This is getting too ranty. No, see, the reason suburbia became a thing that exists is because we started integrating school systems, and when you do that, black people were able to get actual jobs where they could make a living wage and afford the houses inside the inner city that used to be completely populated by whites. So the whites that could afford it moved. It's called white flight. That's why suburbia became a thing.
Oh, good.
And then,
Thank you for clarifying my mistakes. See, this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when you have one person, two people,
who just says whatever the fuck they think.
Exactly.
Just makes shit up.
Exactly.
And then one person who actually understands context.
Who cares
That's what a
about facts?
conversation is.
We don't care about facts here.
No, but facts are important. Facts are important. I don't know. I see.
Okay, you should go vote for Ben Carson if you don't care.
I love facts. Like, I'm a stupid person, and I want to be made, smarter by the opinions of smarter people.
So I don't want to get too circular here. So, all right, let's start out, because we've kind of all gotten a little bit of 2 cents in here. So let's start out with a very basic question. From an outsider objective perspective, like pretend somehow that you have no stakes in human history.
I don't.
Yeah, sure. From an outsider's objective perspective, imagine that you had a working definition of what progress is, and what would you say is a good working definition for progress from an objective perspective?
That's such a hard question because it almost applies to certain things individually. Like, if we look at technology, of course there's progression there. If you look at certain social issues in certain countries, of course there's progression there. But I feel like it's almost like when it comes to like the way the world and people interact with each other, I feel like it's almost like 2 steps forward, 1 step back in most cases.
Yes, good way to look at it.
As we go along. We're all just making it up as we go along.
Yeah, but objectivist perspective.
My objectivist perspective is that, from a purely sociopathic perspective, and what I consider, what I consider.
People.
Oh yes. Oh, I'm not the Joker. I want to be Lex Luthor. He's so much more. I love Lex Luthor. I want to build things, not tear them down. Nihilists are such fucking children.
The Eisenberg Lex Luthor.
Yeah, thank you. But anyway, I want unchecked mad science. I want to start a little place in Mexico.
No, but Milan, objectivist.
Objective. Just going to space. I don't care how we get there. I want to base on the moon and on Mars, and I want the Weyland-Yutani.
Okay. But that... All right, so here's my thing. I don't think technological advancement is equivalent to progress. Because... All right, so...
About social progress? What are you talking about?
No, just progress in general. I don't think technological advancement equals that. And here's kind of what put this in my head, is I've been watching a lot of Star Trek. I'm almost done with DS9 right now. And that seems to be that those two are equivalent, that technology will advance and by doing so, human beings will progress as a species. Like, they always... The line that comes up a lot is, the human race has evolved past our infancy, and it's all basically because we had developed warp drive. And I just disagree with that perspective so much. The idea that technological progress is equivalent to social, economical, and just general progress at all, because,
well,
I don't know,
the thing about that is...
Hold on. Fuck you, you've been talking too much. Shut your goddamn mouth.
Oh, sorry, Daddy.
All right. You know what's an awesome idea? Is a printer. because it's a thing that makes what is a digital object, an object made up of ones and zeros, into a physical object you can hold in your hands. You know what sucks? Every single printer ever invented since the beginning of the printing technology, right? I'm not the only one that slapped my printer around a bit, right?
Yeah.
So, like, the idea for me is just because you've created a technology doesn't mean that you've advanced or progressed on the previous technology that was in wide use. You've just created a new way to do it with its own host of problems. So you haven't solved any problems, you've just replaced problems with new problems. They're possibly more complex and more difficult to solve.
Yeah.
And from an outsider perspective, an outsider, in my opinion, is what are you doing that has actual substantive value. From an outsider perspective, going to space, you fucking a monkey in space.
Yes, I know,
matter.
but that's the thing. You give a monkey a laser gun, the monkey will either die, killing itself, or it will learn how to use the laser gun to take over the rest of the little monkeys. You give the people. You give the people a high advanced level of technology. Look at everyone has a mother box in their pocket, and a phone, and everyone, the species has adapted, at least the first world has, to this level of technology. It's not that you give somebody something and they all of a sudden know how to react to it. No, you give them something amazing and they don't know how to do with it. Look at the internet; it's full of goofy shit. People don't know how to use this thing. They're just some fucking genius
it's
from
just fucking cat videos.
Exactly.
Man.
That and pornography, and you see the soul of humanity reflected.
Hold on. I think I've just figured out how to make millions of dollars. We're gonna make cat video pornography.
That exists. Anyway,
Are cats naked? Isn't just any video of a cat technically pornography?
It depends from your point of view. Anyway, but.
Well, no, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take one viral video of a cat and another viral video of a cat and animate them doing it. Somehow.
Dude, after fucking there's this thing called Godzilla Bukake.
No.
No.
Shut up. Go on with the other.
All right then. See, that's how you shut Ian up. You just reference Crooked Little Vein. But anyway, that book is just.
Actually, that book kind of gets to my point, because there's that scene where he has a conversation with a dude where, the dude that owns all the big technology or whatever, and the guy goes, what's the fucking point of going to Mars? Because if we get there, there's probably not going to be life on it, and even if there was, our bacteria would fucking kill it.
I know, but that's the thing. It's not about life. Fuck life. It's just we need to expand our neighborhood. I mean, we have these large...
So colonialist argument.
Exactly.
So all you've
Colonialism built the world, goddammit!
But look at the shit that happened!
So what? That was the...
All you've done is create...
Colonialism is what made the world what it is. You think a bunch of fucking people poking the ground with a stick, all this tribalism is gonna fucking do anything? No. They were... If they got... If you gain... Look, it's not about... Look, you must understand, the human species are violent, cruel, and vindictive little cunts. And if the fucking white man wasn't going to do it, the native man would have done it too. If the native man came up with the... If the native man came up with the gun first, and he said, you know what, let's build ships and go over to England and fucking kill those cunts, and England would have stayed at that base level fucking Celtic... Let me finish. Stayed at that base level Celtic type of technological development. Look at Rome. That's Rome.
Yeah, exactly. You don't even need...
Colonialism breeds civilization. I'm sorry if there's got to be blood spilt. Sorry, that's what humans do.
That's not what my point is, though. My point is, if history is the story of progress, why are we repeating the same shit over and over again?
Because history is not the tale of progress. That's the thing. It's not progress. We've convinced ourselves that there's some upward momentum. There isn't. It's just...
survival.
It's survival.
It's the history of survival.
There's just smart people who make cool shit, and other smarter, greedier people who mass-produce that shit, and that's what happens. We learn how to make things better.
Steve Jobs.
Exactly. We learn... It's the smart people that give the stupid people shit to do, and those stupid people teach their children how to do the cool shit, and they become a little bit smarter. Not overall, but they learn a skill. You teach the monkey how to do a thing, and the monkey does things for you and gives you money. That's capitalism.
If you look at like
society,
if you look at
civilization.
technology, if you look at most of the technology that kind of pushes the envelope, like a phone in a way makes you kind of like a superhuman. Having a phone, you can talk to anyone anywhere in the world if you have their number, pretty much. Most technology serves the purpose of really just unifying the world. And the thing is, the same problem that you're going to have with your neighbor, if you unify the world, you might have that same problem with your neighboring country at that point.
Mm-hmm.
That goes to your point that the progression of technology doesn't really mean we're progressing as like a society or a species. It's really just, it's like we just do things to do them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We want to preserve our way of life, whatever makes us most comfortable.
Do things,
Yeah. I have a house. I like to wake up in my bed every morning. If I go to war with, like people have this like rationale that it's like, well, I shouldn't have to give up my way of life, so go to war with any country that disagrees with my way of life.
Exactly.
It's the same issues you have, with your neighbor that you could have with your neighbor on a smaller scale.
That's why we need a dictatorial regime that conquers the entire world. We
already have the American Empire.
Well, the American Empire is banal because all its citizens are fat and stupid, more or less.
So it's that effective.
Exactly.
No, but
yeah.
Certainly, the thing is though,
Yeah.
I feel like the perception still exists because I feel like we finally all come to the same agreement that history is not the story of progress. History is a snake eating its own goddamn tail. And it's gorging itself on it because it's a boa constrictor, and this metaphor is breaking down, but I don't care. So I think we've all come to that agreement, and that's pretty quick to get there, so I'm proud of us. Congratulations, we should all clap. Let's talk about... Oh, that's so adorable. Oh, that was so adorable. Anyway, so let's talk about then, why does the perception exist? Are we just fooling ourselves, or is it just lies? What makes that perception that history is the story of progress exist? Because I can't be the only one that has felt that view is out there and is very prevalent.
I think I have an answer to this. I think it's that we just become more comfortable the more we progress technology and the more we preserve our way of life, and we just like being comfortable.
Well, then in that case, shouldn't we all just, stop with the technology and shit and just, hook up IVs and that pump morphine and feeding tubes into us and just, chill?
But for some people, that's not enough, Some people they dream of, growing up and being an entrepreneur, starting a business. That's what they want. And so they want the world to always be conducive to that type of, dream.
Mm-hmm.
They want that. They don't want the world to change to where they can't grow up to do what they want to do. They want the world to stay the same. To some extent, they want the world to make things easier for them. That's why they like technology, but they want to still be able to do what they want to do.
Mm-hmm. All right, and that's a very materialistic view, and I'm wondering if there's another perspective we could attack it from, because certainly not everyone's, just wants to be an entrepreneur. Not everything's about capitalism, basically.
Yeah.
There is certainly people that I feel like I've heard this argument, just as much from people that are very, what's a good word besides socialist? Who are very, very spiritual, very socialist, very leftist in a number of ways that feel that life and history is more about progress for different reasons than being able to achieve what they personally desire.
Yeah. It's really just, if you're not for a lot of people, you make your own purpose in a lot of ways. You get to decide what your purpose will be in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And for some people that's enough. Some people just want to
right
chase
to
their
self-determination.
passion. They want to do what they want to do, or they just want to give
up.
Yeah,
they want the right to self-determination.
Yeah. Whatever is conducive to that, I feel in a lot of ways, that's what they consider progress. And it's like when you look at this goes for social issues. Some people want to be that guy in the history books who did a huge push for civil rights. Some people want to be that guy. So they're out there pushing for equality, and that's what some people want. Some people want to do it because it's the right thing. Some people want their name to be remembered. It's
Yeah, no, okay, I'm glad that you put that little addendum on there, because I'm like, I really don't like when everything has to be selfish for certain things.
Yeah, and there's certainly are people that just do it for the status, and there are people that do it because they actually give a shit.
Yeah.
What exactly are we talking about right now?
We're talking about like why people have the perception that history is the story of progress, and
The thing is,
what makes that perception exist.
it's the poison of youth. You know, youth is, it's just the young people looking at the bullshit the older monkeys did, and they're like, nah, man, I can do it better, man. And they just do the same shit, and then they become the old bastards, and their younger monkeys go, man, that's fucking retarded. And it's just a never-ending process. If only we can just stop the body dying.
Yeah, we like to feel better about ourselves. I think that's a big part of it, too. Is like, we like to look back, and we're like, oh my God, how could these people be such savages? When we talk about like
savages,
prehistoric societies and stuff like that. Like we talk about, we look at that, and we're like, oh, they're so savage. But it's like, I mean, like, if you were there, you'd be the same way. It's like, I think a lot of people like to just feel better about themselves too.
Better to be a savage than to be banal.
Yeah. And, like, it's one of those interesting things, because I feel like people look back at, especially prehistory, and they just interpret whatever the fuck they want to out of it. Like, I took a conflict resolution class, which, oh my God, it was the dumbest class. It was the second dumbest class I've ever taken in college.
What's the first dumbest class?
That was the communications class. No, but like I took a conflict resolution class, and the dude made this argument, and I still cannot believe I heard him say it. It's like, for the majority of the hominid society, or the majority of the hominid species, or the Homo species. Sorry, for the majority of the Homo species, there was no war, and there was very little violence. It was almost completely peaceful for roughly 1 million years.
Yeah.
And I'm just, or no, roughly 200,000 years. I'm like, are you fucking dumb?
Yeah.
It's like, he goes, it's not until the last 6,000 years that we've really gotten incredibly violent.
Yeah.
Are you a fucking idiot?
Yeah, like,
do you not understand how society works?
Watch 2001.
Right?
I feel like 2001 is literally the answer to this question.
Well, no, it's just like, oh, well, there was tribal violence, and, there'd be brawls and fights and stuff, but there was no war. Well, yeah, because war is a construct of society, you dipshit.
Like...
How do you have a society without, like, eventually someone wanting that shit and trying to take it?
Conflict has existed ever since the notion of, I want. I want this.
I don't know if I'd go that far, because I think I want is pretty much the basis for all, to one extent or another, and getting past that is, I guess, what the impossible task, the impossible yet noble task we've set up for ourselves at this point.
I disagree. The thing is, I want got us on the moon, and I want is a great thing, and people want to just make everything soft and squishy, and make, everyone's special, everyone's all right, everyone can have anything they want, but that's not true. I want to push society in a direction that's not upward or a positive. I want to make something of this place. We just have this banal, fat clay of a civilization, and I want to mold it into something great.
With that. I disagree with that completely. I feel like, besides, instead of wasting resources to get from one rock to another rock, we should probably deal with the problems we have here first.
The thing is, there's never going to be a good time to go to space.
But like, what the fuck are you going to do?
Build space stations,
But why?
The thing is, let me explain. Every time there's a big conflict, like a war or something, technology advances. And that's the only way society tends to go forward. I'm like, is this the only thing we're good at? Like, every time we kill each other, we make something cool? I mean, surely we can do something cool, and that can, like, oh my God, we can go to space. That's a whole new other direction of the species.
Frontier.
The final frontier, exactly.
Why the fuck don't you just watch Star Trek?
Because
shit.
Shut up. But anyway, I mean...
What's Star Trek?
Like, how could you have this perspective and not fucking watch Star Trek?
Because I'm a supervillain in making. Shut up. Star Trek is too optimistic.
You have like this. You're like the most hopelessly optimistic person I know.
I know, but that's the thing. I want to, like, if only we can, like, have that idea sparked in humanity's imagination again. We went to the moon before. We have rovers on Mars. Nobody gives... Shut up. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck. We are doing amazing shit, and nobody gives a fuck. We have little Wall-E robots on fucking the surface of Mars. We found water there. Nobody fucking cares. Everyone's too busy.
I care.
I know, but you're a 17-year-old, senior in high school. Hopefully you can change the world when you're,
Now, Milan, why don't you give out his address while you're at it? No, but like, I see that perspective, and I really push back against that, because I'm like, yeah, sure, it's cool, but what does it do? We shot rockets at the moon, and the 8-year-old inside me is acknowledging that's pretty fucking cool, but
see,
I mean,
that's the thing. That's the thing that I really can't understand. See, this is the thing. You have people like you and overall who are just like, yes, we went to the moon, the astronaut was cool, but now we have to focus on the real world things of this world. I'm like, and what's that? Blowing up Arabs? That's all we're
No, not fucking blowing up Arabs.
Surfing the internet. What do you want? Diseases? What do you want to replace this? What do you want? Like, that's the grandiose goal of the species. What do you want to replace it with? I mean, this is why I think...
No, fucking shut your mouth. All right. Blowing up Arabs. You go to the most negative thing. Here, let's take all the money that we spend on wars and, hopeless technological progresses that, once again, no fucking point besides we get a rock out of it. Why don't we spend that money on curing diseases, on social mobility?
Overpopulation. There's just going to be too many fucking humans on the planet, and over time we won't be able to fucking support them all.
Yeah, I mean... Earth's carrying capacity, I may be wrong about this, I heard that it's like 8 billion, roughly?
No, it's like 14 billion, and like, alright, fine. You don't want to cure diseases, because I don't know, I think that's a really fucked up.
There's too many fucking humans on this planet, No,
there aren't. No, fuck that. Because if you actually look at the numbers, if we actually, distributed the resources of food properly, as opposed to giving, fat-ass Americans 17 hamburgers a day and letting people starve in other countries, then we would actually be fine. Instead of feeding chickens to chicken, we actually distributed feed properly, we could have a perfectly functioning society. But everyone wants to eat like an American, so we'd have to fucking colonize the moon to do it, and that's a ridiculous goal.
Let me explain you this. The reason everyone has a burger in America is because, read 303 by Warren Ellis. Essentially what America, I've learned about this interesting little factoid, but in like New Mexico or some places, like near the border, you have these large, gigantic cow death camps for McDonald's, and they just get like illegal immigrants to build little shanty towns around this little, evil empire. And
Tyson Chicken does that
Exactly. And they give these poor fucking Mexicans speed to have them work 24/7 a day, 24 hours a day, and then they just kind of get their hands stuck in the machine, their fingers and like arms get cut off, and they just kind of druggily walk over, into the desert and die. Like that happens to humans. Like
and that's fucking terrible.
Let me explain.
Why don't we solve that problem?
But you can't. Because that's the only way they can feed you fucking people. That's the only way they can feed America, is by this many... You have no idea how much fucking time and resources it takes to feed America. You don't... And that's why they do this shit. You think they're just going to solve that problem? Like, there's like...
If you actually put resources into it, if people actually gave a fuck...
But they're not going to give a fuck. They're going to continue farming Arabs. That's why we need to... That's why we need to kill all the politicians and replace them with younger, more forward-thinking individuals.
That will happen naturally in time, though.
No, it won't, because the old fucks will find replacements for their ideologies. They'll find some sycophantic little cunts. They'll imprint their own thoughts on those sycophantic little cunts, and the whole thing will continue on. You need a killing process to kill all these old people so we can have...
Let me get in here.
Fine.
You've been ranting for like 5 minutes. All right, so your argument is, well, we have all these fucking problems, and instead of solving them, we should just go spread them out across the fucking universe?
No, look, there is no way we can this is a larger thing. You're thinking of this as just one big thing. It's not. It's a bunch of little structures that make up a larger thing. And for example...
And I agree with that, but my point is, why are we wasting resources when we could be solving problems that are here right now?
Because they will never get solved, Ian. It's
bullshit.
It's the curse of civilization. Just because somebody is happy and wealthy and has enough money, somebody underneath them will have to suffer.
That's a capitalist.
Unless you want complete communism. Look,
what's wrong with that?
Because communism ultimately comes into dictatorial regime. Because if everyone's special, no one is.
That's propaganda.
It's not propaganda. It's true.
That is propaganda.
If you give the idiots the ability to make decisions, they will make idiotic decisions.
And I don't even think you have to go that far to communism though. For less people at the bottom getting stomped on. I don't think, you don't even need to go that far, really.
This is just a programmed argument, though. This is just bullshit, though. I'm sorry, I don't agree that everything has to be shit for some things to be awesome.
I second that.
That is a fucked programmed
optimistic, Ian.
That's circular, though. Like when you say, these problems are too big and, there's too many of them to fix, let's not try. That just,
I'm not saying not try. I'm not saying not to try to solve
continuing
something.
To go on.
I'm just saying we need a different type of focus. We've been focusing on war and throwing our resources away on meaningless conflicts.
I said let's stop focusing on wars and stop focusing on things that are, for the moment at least, unachievable, and put those resources into things that would actually help the society as a whole. Because once you have a fully utilized society, then you could actually start solving those extraterrestrial matters. And actually that is the most perfect use of the word extraterrestrial.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just don't want to solve their problems, really. I keep going back to this. It's just people wanting to preserve their way of life in a lot of ways, their ideology, and they'll fight to the death for that.
Exactly, that's the thing. But look, I just want the future to come quicker. I'm tired of I do! It's like you just know they have a fucking bunker somewhere with all this amazing technology that they won't release to the public because it's just too dangerous. Oh, it will change the face of humanity too dangerously. I'm like, why don't we just find that fucking bunker and release all that shit?
There'll be a little tiny CD that's going to replace... there'll be a little tiny disc that's going to replace CDs.
Not like that. Not this banal telecommunications bullshit.
It was a Men in Black joke.
I know, but I'm talking about a fucking gun that shoots ice at people, or a jetpack with a flamethrower, or
useful? What is that useful for?
Shaking people.
Well, you've never just been walking down the street and needed to immediately freeze someone to death.
We need to make it easier for supervillains to exist in the real world.
Yes, I want supervillains. I want them to be in real life. Why? Supervillains, man.
Let me actually be charitable here.
I don't even understand that. Why would you want supervillains?
Because they will make life interesting.
Okay.
ISIS are all a bunch of faggots. What the fuck is that? What the fuck is ISIS?
Hold on, stop digging your own grave. Let me be charitable for you for a second. Alright, I think the best version of the argument you're trying to make is an argument in which people need to be able to compete and have upward mobility in order to give them incentive to create and push the society forward. And I disagree with that. Because the times that I personally feel the most creative, the most progressive, if you'll allow me to stretch it, is the times when I don't have to worry about, solving my own problems and trying to, struggle with finances or health or anything. The times I feel the most empowered and able to help other people is when I don't have to worry about stupid, banal shit.
Yeah, like, you know, like, you can do what you want. You know, like, if you get shelter, food, and personal relationships out of the way, you know, if those things are good for you,
needs.
the rest is, you know, that's when you can really progress. When you get the basics,
But
the
look, that's
standard
not
things
the
you need to
case.
live a normal, healthy life, when those are taken care of, that's when you really progress. When everyone
Not
has
really,
that.
no. That's when people start sitting on their laurels. That's when people go, you know what? Everything is better than anything else. Oh, we don't have to progress at all. Oh, and you get in that fucking Wall-E thing where everyone's a fat cunt, not doing anything, just, you know.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, from my perspective at least, your argument for, you know, oh, well, there will always be problems is what Wall-E is a commentary on.
And like,
It's like, oh, well, we don't have we don't want to spend the resources to solve this problem. We just want to not have to deal with it, so let's just fuck off to space and leave a robot to take care of it for us.
No,
you know,
I'm not saying fuck off to space and leave the Earth by itself. I'm saying we have to, all we need is just a little circle of sanity where all the smart people get resources to do something amazing. Like, okay,
so
you
they
guys...
You're just making the
Look,
argument,
just
though,
need
like,
an
they have
inter-
everything
yeah.
taken care of for them, so they can focus on the important things. You know,
Yes, but that's the
space
thing.
travel is more practical when the Earth's problems, as Ian is
But
saying,
the
you know,
thing
like, when
is,
the
there's
Earth's
never
problems
gonna
are solved.
you can't solve Earth's problems. You can never solve all the problems. Like, look at fucking politics now. Look at the fucking college scene. You have the most fucking privileged, the most fucking happiest people in America right now. All these college students, and what are they doing? They're complaining about nothing. They're just complaining about
Student debt.
Well, student debt is something, but they're not complaining about that. They're complaining about
Yeah, they are. It's one of the biggest issues facing the college community.
Yeah,
right
but
now.
anyway, look, you need one little circle of sanity where you can, like, an international NASA, where all the smart people.
But Milan,
But let me finish, for fuck's sake. And that's what they can focus on, getting us to space. You can still blow each other up. I don't care. You guys can fucking kill each other and bomb Arabs and do whatever you want. I don't care. Just like, every country needs to give a little bit, like, all their smart people in a little circle. We're gonna focus on going to space. This little circle of sanity. Everything else, you can still bomb each other. I don't care.
Once again, though, what you're talking about is so fucking ass backwards to me. Because you would rather just separate the people who are the smartest right now and put them on their own, as opposed to solving the problems ahead of time in order to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to help the society, to help the collective advance. That is like spilling milk all over the kitchen floor and then going, I'll just go to the store and get another one, pour a glass, and then just let this kind of take care of it.
No, I'm not saying we should just abandon something. I'm just saying we should have, like, I agree.
No,
Listen to me. Let me see. I agree we should stop war, and we should, of course, try to help as many people as we possibly can, try to make things equal and happy and whatever. I agree, like, racism is a bad thing. Inequality in the, in economy and social structures are all bad things. But we gotta focus on that plus going to space. Like, we need to replace we need to replace that need for war and destruction and killing people into something that's actually beneficial to the species. I mean, look.
Okay, but once again, I don't think that space travel is beneficial in the short term.
Look,
we should focus on the social issues and
in the long term. That's the thing.
Yeah, but you can't just think short term, though. I think there has to be a balance.
We can't keep putting it off. I mean, that's the thing. We're just going to overpopulate the Earth, and we're going to fucking die. The fucking world leaders
prioritizing is what he's saying.
Exactly. We need to prioritize properly.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is, like, fine, prioritize, but I would put space travel, because, honestly, it's a long way off, and I think you could get there faster.
Why is it a long way off? Why? Why do we have to fucking keep putting this off? There's every generation. We went to the moon in the fucking 60s. We went to the moon in the 60s.
The moon is fucking a hop, skip, and a jump away.
Exactly. So why don't we have fucking space stations there? What the fuck?
Hold on, let me finish. Let me fucking get in here. Alright. Space travel. Right now, we've been putting research and shit into this since the 60s for, 50, 60 years. Actually, since the 50s. So 60 years now we've been putting research into space travel. We went to the moon, and we put a little, playhouse up orbiting the Earth that no one can live on for more than 6 months. The amount of work that it would take to get to Mars, about 5 years, if we really, really plan it out, and you'd have to plan to live there once you get there. You can't come back. If anything goes wrong, you are completely fucked. The things right now, every resource we've had for the last 50 years that has been put toward space travel has gotten us to the point where it's like, yeah, it's kind of really fucking hard, and to do it, it's not going to be cool. It's going to suck. It's going to do nothing but seriously suck.
Yeah, but
we should spend money on. We should spend money.
Why did they
at a
fucking
select
cross the
few-
frontier? Why
Shut
did they
the fuck up.
Why did they go to America? Why the fuck did the fucking pilgrims do that
Shut
shit?
the fuck
What's
up.
the
Let me
point?
get
Why
in.
didn't they just stay in England? Why didn't they stay in England?
Motherfucker, shut your fucking mouth.
You're so mean. Jesus Christ.
We put all this fucking work into going so that, 20, 30, maybe 100 people can go to Mars, whereas, let's just leave these fucks to starve and die? I just don't understand
what
that.
fucks? Who's starving and dying? What are you talking about?
Motherfucker, starvation is still a problem on the planet.
So
You wanna
what? In some fucking shit nowhere countries, fuck them. I don't give a
That is
damn.
so fucked.
No, I don't give a damn. Fuck it. I'm tired of
Well,
trying
I
to
don't
solve
give a damn
other
about
people.
fucking
We have
Mars.
Hitler on the podcast. Hitler is
I'm not
here.
Hitler. Look.
Anakin
You gotta understand.
Skywalker, episode 2.
Look. Just because, you can't solve everyone's problems. You can't save the world. You can't. You just can't.
That's a fucked perspective, though. That is
It's
such a
true,
fucked-
though. It's fucking true.
No, it's not.
It breaks my fucking heart to say it, but you can't save everyone. You can't save everyone.
Such a
You have
fucked
to do what
perspective.
is necessary.
But Milan, what you're saying is you can't save everyone, but if we just go to space, then the problems will be solved?
No, I'm saying
we
the
go to
problems
space
will
and we've
still
taken
be
our
there, but
problems
at
with
least
us.
we would have accomplished something worthwhile as a species.
Why is that more
And we
worthwhile
would
than
have
saving people?
Look, because saving people, they're just meat. They're just
Okay, well,
they're gonna
sending us
die
out into
anyway.
space, that's just
And
meat.
sure,
That's
their
just
suffering
covered.
is bad.
It's just
Their
travel.
suffering is bad.
I mean,
We
it really
just-
comes down to what do you think is more important, I guess. I mean, you guys aren't going to agree on that. You just have different ideologies about what matters more to you.
Exactly.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, space travel, it's fucking cool. I just don't think it's worth, millions of lives.
It is worth millions of lives, and if I had the opportunity, of course, I would just throw humans at it. Just, that's how you build things, man. Just because
Yeah, but what I'm saying-
1,000
what I'm
billion
saying is
people
you
die to
actually-
create something amazing, you gotta stop seeing humans as individuals.
Well, let me jump off that point. What I'm saying is, if we actually formed a society that focused on saving people as a resource, you would eventually get a collective that would be able to more quickly solve the problems associated with space travel, as opposed to having to, put NASA's funding into a small section of American military funding. You wouldn't have to have American military funding, and all that funding can go to NASA, and all the brilliant minds in the world can go to NASA or whatever. I think the UN has an equivalent of NASA. I don't know. Can go to to space programs once you've solved all these problems, so that you can actually solve those problems associated with space travel faster, so you can get to one more, not necessarily more quickly, but more safely and in a more satisfying way that doesn't mean fucking people over
Okay.
and saying fuck them, they can go
I
starve.
have a question.
How long? Look, let me explain this. How long is that gonna take?
Okay,
How
wait.
long
This
will it
goes into
take
that.
for us to fix everything?
Go ahead,
Okay.
Squatch.
Okay, so let's talk, then what is standing in our way from solving these problems that once we solve, then we can focus on things like space? What is in the way? Like, we should talk about that. Like, what is it that's actually keeping us back? Like, what are the things that if we could eliminate would make this
warmongering
an easier
bastards.
progression?
We just need to replace.
War and starvation are the two big ones.
Yeah,
that
but
come in.
what causes us from being able to fix those right now?
Old people.
Ideology.
Yeah, okay, so I agree with that. There's things I want to say. I don't want to offend people.
Go
just
for
say
man.
it.
Don't
Doesn't
worry.
matter.
No one
Fuck it.
listens
No one's
to
going to
the
be
show.
watching this anyway.
Okay,
Let's go.
Okay. And see, the thing is, I just don't know how religious anybody here is.
We're both atheists.
Okay.
I'm not an atheist.
So I am also an atheist. A lot of
I'm not.
Values that people hold, that they will die to, they will stand by certain ideologies till they die, and that comes from their faith. That comes from this this like idea that's like, this is in this holy book that I live my life by. This is what I will stand for forever. That's radical. Not all Muslims, but just radical terrorism. That's taking an ideology to its furthest extent. You have really, really, really strong conservative people that they get a lot of their social values and like their opinions on social issues oftentimes stem from things like the Bible. You have that in the world. You have people from all different religions on all different levels of how extreme they interpret their holy books. I think so much conflict, really almost all conflict, comes from that. And almost every time someone wants to fuck someone over, it stems from the fact that they think that they are more right than that person. And you can't shake that of them because it's their faith.
Gotcha. And I think religion is a really good excuse most of the time. I don't think there's anything wrong with it in and of itself, but I will agree it's definitely used as an excuse.
When it's your personal, if it's a personal thing for you, but when you go and you try to make political change and my ideology.
Honestly, it can be any ideology that does that though. It doesn't have to be religion. There's you look at some of the shit. We can go to the exact opposite of religion. We can go to the militant atheist thing, and if you look at some of the shit that those guys say, it's completely fucking bonkers, and they would do all the awful things that religious extremists do, but they would do it in the name of non-religion. I mean, South Park had a really good 3-part episode on this exact thing.
Yeah.
People will find something to argue about if you want to look at.
You gather enough
the right to think what they want to think.
You gather enough animals together, and you tell them to do a thing, and they'll eventually turn into a violent thing, or they'll turn into an angry, unlikable thing. That's the thing. Once you have enough people together believing the same thing, it just goes crazy. And that's the thing. Look, I think either with these types of people, with these types of fundamentalists, like, for example, I'm going to take the Muzis, the fundamentalist Islamic ISIS, essentially. ISIS, look. We've tried to fight it, like America tried to fight it. America brought Australia along, and Australia for the longest time where I live, we're the cronies of America, and we were doing their bidding. We were our sons and daughters died in that fucking giant sandbox too, and it's like. At a certain point, I listened to the Joe Rogan podcast, and there was a soldier on who just gotten back from the war, and he talked about how he just looks at all the territories his friends died to get back. ISIS is just all the shit his friends died for to get that territory. ISIS is just washing over it. They're just taking it all back, and he's just saying, "I want to go back there and start doing it." I'm like, "No, you've tried." You've tried. You have to disengage. Fuck the Middle East. Fuck the Jews. Fuck the Muslims. Let them blow themselves up. You have to bring all your boys home and fix the problems at home. And with this thing in France, it's horrible. My heart goes out to the people of France, but you just know after a week, America's gonna go, we're gonna go bomb Syria. I'm like, why? Because of the French? Sorry, France, we'll give you as much money and as much aid as we possibly can, but we're not going to go to war for you. You can fuck ISIS, you can bomb, brown people all you want. We've tried that for what, how many years now?
10
years, a decade. You can do it now. We're not going to get involved anymore.
And
you know what's funny? You know what's funny?
During
9/11 and during the Iraq War, the French were starting to talk all this kind of shit. Fuck the Americans. They're all a bunch of fucking idiots. Now, sorry, America. Can you help us out? Fuck you, France.
Okay, let me get in here.
Fuck that.
See, I don't know. I think it is a very tempting thing to go, okay, we should just disengage and let them solve their own problems. And I think military solutions are not the option to go for, but I'm struggling to think of another one because... honestly, what I think it comes down to is a military solution is needed, but not a Western military solution. One of the best things, and this is going to sound really fucked up, but one of the best things that I think happened in the early days with ISIS is them making the idiotic move to decide to burn that Jordanian pilot alive. Because Jordan's a country with its own fucking issues, not gonna lie. But it gave people in the region something to be mad about.
Yeah.
And so that it spurred the initiative to internally solve the problem, as opposed to people who have no idea about the fucking culture, the civilization, the standards and rules of the society coming in and trying to tell them how to operate
Yeah,
it.
it can't just be our war.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is it needs to be solved internally, and I think there are ways to do that without just saying, fuck it, let them all figure it out for themselves. So, like, I certainly sympathize with that perspective, because, I mean, you know, all the problems in the Middle East could be traced back to one fucking thing. Western involvement.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No,
exactly.
but, like, see, like, that goes back to the Paris thing. Like, I think they were right, you know, calling us stupid for getting involved in a culture we didn't understand, causing more problems, you know, making it easy for a power grab. You know, like, we made it so it was easy for ISIS to have this giant power grab.
Exactly. And
that's
and
why
it's
the
all
French
these-
were calling us stupid back then. And in a way, we kind of fucked them over now. Like, I don't know if the Paris attack would have happened had we not got as involved as we did in the first place.
No, let's not blame the Paris attacks on the Americans. Look, it's just...
I mean, we did destabilize the region.
Well, fuck the region. The region, like, this is what happens, man. You have all these fucking old bastards who see this opportunity. What the 9/11 was, and what this thing in France is just a third world throwing a little pebble at the first world in revenge. And what happens now is, like, all these warmongering bastards who make money off killing people and selling arms will look at this and go, yes, we can take the wounded psyche of this nation and push them to do the shit that we want to do. The shit that makes us money, we can make them do them because they're in a shitty situation. They're emotionally fucked. They're like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Hey, let's bomb Arabs again.
Yo, and why
make
people
us
rally
money.
behind that, it goes back to people see 9/11, they're like, oh god, this is threatening our way of life. This is threatening our
But
comfort.
if you look at but if you
Fight
look at
this.
if you look at some of the fucking things America has done to innocent people, look at the drone warfare shit.
Hell, I mean, yeah.
let me set the
yeah.
scene for you. Let me set the scene.
No. Fuck you. You'll go on for like 20
No,
minutes.
I literally give me 2
No,
minutes.
no,
2
shut
minutes.
up,
It's
shut up,
literally
shut up,
2 minutes.
no,
I will
shut up,
finish it.
shut up,
I will not
shut up.
Ian.
Shut up.
I will
shut
not
up,
shut
shut
up.
up. Shut up.
Let me
Shut up.
what? You don't
Shut up.
you want
Shut
to
up.
talk about?
Shut up. Shut up.
I will tell it, man.
Okay.
Look, it's not going to go for
no,
2
like, the
minutes.
thing is-
2 minutes. That's it. 2 minutes.
No. I know you. You'll lie to my face.
I won't lie to your face. I figure it's a speech. It's a 2-minute speech. It's literally going to be finished in 2 minutes.
No.
It's
fuck
going to
you,
be
no.
finished. I would have been done by now. I would have been done.
No,
Why are you
shut
such
up.
a child, Ian? Why are you acting like such a child?
No. Give up.
I will not give up, motherfucker. Let me tell my fucking drone killing people joke.
All right, hold on.
Conflict.
I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock, and at 2 minutes, if you haven't stopped talking, I'm going to yell, Milan, shut the fuck up.
Okay, fine. All right,
Ready?
here we go.
Go.
Okay, so there's a scene. There's a little boy, a little Arab boy, going, playing around. And then there's a little American drone flies past. He grabs an AK-47 and goes, Mama, the Americans, they have a fucking drone coming at us. And the mother screams, no, don't shoot the thing down. You'll bomb us. And the boy shoots at the drone, and the fat, useless, lazy American sitting in a whole other country, playing his video games of actual death, says, oh my god, a little brown child, I'm gonna bomb it. Boom, 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 the child is blown apart. The mother is covered in the boy's intestines and blood and screams, more bombs. More bombs! The
Americans gotta be fat.
useless American bombing children. At least the Nazis had the common basic fucking human decency to be piloting the planes as they bombed innocent women and children. Boom! Stop!
Again.
Was that
Okay,
so fucking hard?
Podcast defending the Nazis.
I am not Hitler. I am not defending America. How dare you, sir? I merely pointed...
No, like,
kidding.
certainly I mean, I hate Donald Rumsfeld with the burning passion of 1,000 Suns, but he did have one really good point when he was talking about why the Bush administration wasn't using drones nearly as much as the Obama administration has. And his point was, because every time we use them, maybe if we're lucky, we'll kill the guy we're intending to, but I guarantee you, we're making 10 more just like him. Because there's no way to be precise with it. If you succeed at killing one person, you probably have killed everyone else that was in the room with the guy, and that's someone's brother or son or whatever.
Yeah. Oftentimes it's we killed the target. Was the target the guy we were after? We don't really know. Like, it's like we killed who we were aiming for. Was the person we were aiming for the person we're after? Maybe. And that's...
Yeah, I mean, that's why the WikiLeaks thing got really big, is because that video of the video with the audio of the helicopter pilot just saying, oh, well, shouldn't bring your kids to a war zone, and it was all because someone was trying to load some, like, piece, I think it was like a piece of metal, like scrap metal, into a van.
Fucked up.
They thought it was like a rocket launcher or whatever. It was fucking monstrous. And that's the thing, is like, is it difficult? Do the problems seem monumental and unsolvable? Sure, but that's a self-defeating attitude. If you're gonna enter the situation saying the problem...
Stop bombing children with robots, that's all I'm saying.
No, but if you're gonna... My point is, though, if you're gonna enter the situation saying the problem is completely unsolvable, of course you're gonna fucking solve the problem. That's a horrible... Could you imagine if I poured out a jigsaw puzzle and gone, oh, I'll never solve this? What fucking chance do I have of fucking solving it at that point if I'm going to enter it with that thing? I'm going to get bored with it.
This is the exact reason why we need supervillains. This is exactly why, because once there are crazy people with amazing technology destroying the first world, little by little, if you're going to rob a bank, why not just... There's this little 17-year-old boy in America somewhere who actually attached a gun to a drone, and it works. Why don't you have a whole bunch of those? If you're going to rob a bank, why not just, why hire out? Just call yourself the human beehive and have a bunch of nerds all around the bank piloting each one of those fucking things.
We need
just
Ozzy
walk in.
Diaz.
Ozymandias, yes.
Squid. We need that squid to bring the world together.
Yes, we do. Like, that's why I want to start the Milan Corporation in Mexico. Just start some place where I can get a bunch of nerds. I can supply them with drugs and prostitutes.
Stand for something. Every letter's got to stand for something.
Milan will. I don't know. Think of an anagram. I'll just call.
No, I get the idea of motivation, and that's the thing. Like, the Nazis may have been the greatest thing for human civilization because they pushed technology very, very far.
Thank you.
No,
God. We have Hitler. This is Hitler.
I am not Hitler. I'm Stalin. There's a difference.
For a long time, my joke was that Milan was the reincarnation of Caligula, but I'm pretty sure Hitler is the reincarnation of Caligula, and Milan is the reincarnation of Hitler. No, but like seriously though, the idea of pushing forward. You look at the level of technology, and once again, I'm skeptical at best about technological progress being anything of substantial value. You look at the level of technology before World War II and then after, and it's fucking night and day. Like, fucking radar of all things was invented in World War II. It's just a fucking byproduct. Same with microwaves, for that matter. Microwaves are a byproduct of radar, which was a byproduct. That's what the fuck.
Exactly.
And microwaves are like 2 steps away from replicators, since I'm going to continue on with all the Star Trek references at this point. It's a thing where you just put food in it and then wait a minute or two and then it's suddenly warm as shit. That's amazing. Like, how long it took to get to fire? It's a huge step up here. But anyway, you look at the level of technology and, so when you have the motivation to outpace and outperform an opposing thing, there's a very dramatic example, but why can't we just be like, okay, let's just, try to put that same level of effort without trying to do it to kill someone else? Why is that such a radical idea?
Because humans are stupid. You gotta lead them to a better tomorrow. That's why they're always this is what I'm talking about. Humans are children. But not individually. You might be a rational, sane adult that can discuss.
Nietzsche has a good quote. It's like in a crowd, each man loses his mind and gains another.
Exactly. We're all we gotta upgrade our collective thinking, because once we individually we're all sane, rational adults, more or less. Well, that's what we tell ourselves. And then once we get into a crowd, we act like fucking children. I mean, we have to grow the fuck up collectively. We got to learn how to. And I think
we need to evolve past our infancy once again.
Exactly.
Fucking watch Star Trek.
Exactly. And like blowing things up while wearing a clown suit is how you do it.
Okay. Once again, my God, Milan, just watch Star Trek. I don't even like that show that much, and you just need to fucking watch Star Trek.
No. Like who would you be, Lex Luthor or the Joker?
I don't know, man. I guess Lex Luthor.
Yes, see, of course, you want to be Lex Luthor. A man who doesn't...
But the Joker gets all the pussy.
Well, the Joker is he's a banal child that wants to... there's no reason for his chaos. Fuck that guy. I'm talking about Lex Luthor. I want to build something. And if somebody gets in my way, slit the throat and throw the body in a pit full of fire. That's the true nature of the world. The clown can blow things up all he wants to try to make a point. What point? Nihilism? Nihilists are such fucking children. Hate nihilists.
I don't think there are very many of them. Most of them just kill themselves.
Good.
Actually, that's pretty much the like ultimate thing. Is the only true nihilists are dead because they all committed suicide.
Good. Less of those types of people.
Fuck you. God, fuck you.
But look, it's this whole...
You just, fuck you.
Oh, come on. I'm not talking about the poor and depressed people. I'm talking about the people who go, you know what, I'm gonna go shoot a fucking school. Because I can't get any pussy. Those motherfuckers. I want those motherfuckers to kill themselves. The people who...
Actually, two Squatch's earlier point about, fundamentalism. I mean, you look at that kind of activity there, and that's very rarely religious in nature. The whole school shooting phenomenon, the mass shooting phenomenon is very often not religious, but it is clearly an act of terrorism, and it's spawned more by social ideologies and stuff. So, like I said, people find any excuse. And I understand that it's a very strange thing for me, especially as a cynical bastard, to argue, hey, people are kind of shit, but imagine what we could do if we were just kind of not shit.
I don't think that's... You're not even... You haven't come across very cynical at all, honestly, to me.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is, this is... I don't even, you should honestly be checking to see if I'm a clone or a changeling or something. Star Trek references.
No, he's just getting regular pussy. That's his problem.
No.
Oh, God.
No, seriously, I mean, yes, I am a very cynical person by nature. I have, I think most cynics are people who have just gotten disappointed. And once again, there's nothing wrong with cynicism in and of itself. Cynicism and pessimism often get used as synonyms. That's a really hard sentence to say. They often are used interchangeably. Yeah, they're often used interchangeably, and they're not necessarily. They just happen to go hand in hand very often. Cynicism is very harsh reality. Do I think we could potentially get to the point at which I've discussed? Yes. Do I think we will? No.
Nope.
Because, once again,
maybe
history's not the story of progress. It's circular. We might solve some of these problems, or start to solve them, or temporarily solve them, but eventually, every era has its ending, and eventually that will end. I've been watching Star Trek. You know what Star Trek story I really, really, really want to see done that I know we'll never do? I want to see him time travel to the future and have the Federation have completely collapsed under its own weight. And not because anyone did anything wrong or didn't follow the tenets of the philosophy right. It just stopped working at some point.
Yeah, I mean, you can't force everyone to change, or else you're essentially becoming just as corrupt as, the people that we overthrow and then say, wow, this is progress. You can't force everyone to change. Some people don't want to, regardless of how progressive a certain nation might want to be. There's always going to be someone that doesn't want that to happen, that likes the way things are. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's the problem, really, is that everyone has a different... Everyone's perfect world is something different. No one has the same vision of what the perfect world is like.
Yeah, and I agree with that, and that is a significant problem. And once again, I can have a perspective of this is the way things should be. Now, is that going to be the case, or could that be the case? Anything can be the case. If I'm being perfectly honest, I don't think it will, but I don't think that this is the way it has to be. I think that eventually things will progress in some ways, but regress over time. You look at, all right, let's take an issue that's, pretty popular right now, gay rights. And this is actually a really funny one, because it was one of the questions the Supreme Court asked during the whole marriage debate thing was, well, what society has ever allowed gay marriage? And I'm like, that's such a fucking weird historical perspective to ask, because that's not what our definition of marriage in the modern sense is, not at all what it used to mean. Yeah. Because you look at a society like Rome in ancient Greece for that matter, that had just gay rights out the wazoo because fucking everybody was gay. Everyone was gay or bi in Rome. It was just, you went to your Saturday night orgies. It's just what you did.
Saturday night
they drank
orgy, going to fuck
how much
some
wine
pussy
they drank?
and ass.
You couldn't drink. Just think about that. You couldn't drink water. Your only option was wine. You know how blasted everybody was? Of course there was orgies. No, but you look at gay rights and you have the Supreme Court ask a question like, why has no society ever done that? And it's like, well, because, women aren't property now. And so the idea of a man owning another man as property back then, that was just called slavery. We had a special name for that. And marriage was a different name. So historical perspectives change drastically over time, and so when you look at the way in which it works, yeah, if you were a homosexual living in ancient Rome, you could have a very, very successful life and you could do really, really well. If you were a homosexual living in America in the 1950s, you could be chemically castrated even if you were a hero to your country, a la Alan Turing.
Oh yeah.
So just the ways in which society, it can be progressive in some ways and regressive in others, and it goes in loops. And so I think there's a possibility that in time we will, for a time, solve a lot of humanity's problems. I don't think it's anytime soon. And I don't have the defeatist perspective of, well, the only way we can have amazing things is if some people have to suffer horribly for it. That's a self-defeating attitude. That's not cynicism. That is pessimism. And it's also capitalism perfectly exemplified. Not that I don't want anyone to get the impression that I'm a communist. I think that they are both in separate ways completely fucked. In separate but equal ways. There are things that can go horribly wrong with both of them. But no, I feel like you can have society can progress in some ways, but I think it will eventually regress. And I think that is what history is. It is a cycle. It is circular. It is not a straight line. Prince of Persia, one of my favorite games, has one of the greatest opening lines ever. Some people think time is a river, always moving swiftly and quickly in one direction. But time is an ocean in a storm. Love that line. God, that is such a good game. So there's my big ramble that I think ends my opinions on this. Did anyone else have any final thoughts they wanted to get out?
I do.
Go for it.
I think the thing is, everyone comes from a different place. Everyone's seen different things, had different experiences, and everyone has their vision of a perfect world. Even if your perfect world was realized, there's going to be someone out there who just doesn't see it the same way as you, that isn't content with the world being the same way as you.
I mean, obviously, Hitler.
Yeah. And
Milan.
It's I think that someday, it is possible for the majority and the people with the most influence to align with ideas that are going to benefit people, having every single person on Earth having more, I guess, pleasure in their life, more ability to do what they want to do, be what they want to be, and we can get past a lot of petty things. I don't want to come across. Earlier, I kind of was afraid that I kind of came across like I'm a religious like hater. That's not the case at all. Like, I have no problem with a religious person at all. That was just an example of, some people have a very strong, ideology that, it's so rooted into who they are that you can't shake it. You can't shake them from that. You can't make them see the world a different way.
Yeah, and like I said, religion is just a really good excuse for people because it happens to be very popular.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that, it's an inherent problem with the world at all. That's not what I'm saying at all. I have no problem with a religious person at all. That just is an example of people who just are going to fundamentally disagree on what they think the purpose of life is, or what they think we should be working towards. Like, everyone's going to have a different ideology. And that's just where they were born, who their parents were, what people they were around, the government that they grew up in. Even if, you have it, your perfect world is realized, there's always going to be someone that disagrees, but hopefully someday it can be that most people agree on just, common decency. Hopefully someday that will be the majority, and the vocal majority also.
I have something to say. I know how to solve all these problems. Grant Morrison knows. Essentially, what I want you to do is I want you to cleanse your body and mind. Go to your local priest, imam, or elder. Tell him all your sins. Get rid of all the shit in your heart. Don't eat for 5 days. Eat only bread and water. Purify yourself with holy water. And then I want you to get some mushrooms or acid or any kind of heavy-duty hallucinogenic. Then I want you to read up on whatever deity you wish to summon. I prefer... It's so much better if you summon Superman. Read All-Star Superman. Read all your favorite Superman books. Or Swamp Thing, or Batman, or whatever kind of thing you want. Whatever god you want, whatever ideal you want to be most prominent in your life. I want you to fill your head with nothing but that idea. And I want you to let loose on those drugs, and I want you to try to summon that entity. Because gods and monsters, demons, all that shit exists, but it's not in the way you think. It's all these larger concepts floating around in our collective unconscious. You can summon them, and they can tell you things. But be careful, you've got to get all the filth out of your soul, because if you don't fully purify yourself, you'll summon the scarecrow, and the thing you fear most will manifest, and you'll have a bad trip. You don't want that. So get rid of all your vile, all your hatred, all your fear, all your self-loathing. Get rid of it. There's no point for it. And then summon Superman, and he'll tell you things that's, once you level out, will seem like the most, that's just the basic shit of life. But during the time, you'll see it as the truth that it is. Anyway, do that, and the world, if everyone were to do that, the world would be a better place.
3 points to take away from this podcast. Do drugs, be like Superman, and Milan is Hitler.
Milan, Photoshop yourself as Hitler. Do it right now.
No, I'm not Hitler. I'm fucking Russian. Don't ever do that again. Don't do that. I'm not Hitler. I'm Stalin. Like, if you're a young man...
Oh, so you're worse.
Yes, but look, if you're a young man with a dream, like, if you want to build an empire together, I'll rob a couple of banks, I'll slit a couple of throats, and together, after we've built an empire, I'll poison you with cake that has cyanide in it. You'll be laying there, asking yourself, why am I dying of cancer? And I'll be chewing on my pipe with my mustache and going... death comes to us all, old chum. Have some more cake. Oh, yummy.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure what we're going to talk about next week. Steve isn't here. Milan, do you think you could actually make it next week? Hello? You just die on me?
Gone on to the afterlife.
Yeah, I guess. Milan, you there?
I am the madman.
No, we're not... What?
What?
I'm trying to ask you a fucking question, dipshit.
Whoa, sorry. What is it?
Do you think you could actually make it next week?
What's the topic?
I would let you pick if you can actually make it. So I need your
wonderful.
You'll actually be there.
Forever Evil.
No, it's got to be history related.
Oh, fuck, okay. History. What's...
Only if you can promise to be there 100%, because you've been flaky as shit lately.
I don't know, the history of... Like, can it be real history, or can it be for, imagined history?
It has to have some basis in actual history, and it's got to be a review topic.
The Mongols. I've been listening to hardcore history. So, how about the Mongols?
Well, is it a review? Is that like a movie or something?
We can just review the Mongols.
No, that's... Fuck you. You can make it next week or not. I'll think of something for us to review. Oh shit, I know. This will be awesome, because I so want to hear your opinions on this movie. We'll review Caligula. Yeah, we'll review the Michael McDowell Playboy film. Or is it Playboy? No, it's Penthouse. The Michael McDowell Penthouse film Caligula. Make sure you watch the unrated version. This will be awesome. This is gonna be so much fun. Yeah, if you're not there, I'm gonna be so disappointed, but it's cool because I so want to talk about this movie anyway. Oh, okay, cool. Caligula it is. Alright, everyone. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
I'm the Madman.
And I'm the Squatch.
And we're your geeky gentlemen, and we will be discussing things, but mostly just arguing and yelling at Milan to shut the